I want to share with you today something that has completely revolutionized my life. I'm not exaggerating. Something that has completely allowed me to um, embody myself more completely and to be more grounded and relaxed and energized and also very much orgasmic. And this is the energy that the yogis describe as apana, the apana vayu, which is, I like to practice this mudra often, I teach it often. It's the yoni mudra, and it's a downward pointing triangle. And this downward pointing triangle is really a symbol of the energy that allows us to give birth. So it's this downward, down and out energy. It's this energy that allows us to menstruate. The womb lining sheds, it expels, it's our elimination process, and equally it's the letting down of milk from the breast for nursing mothers. These are all really important, obviously, reflexes, and they all relate to this downward current of energy. And on that note, this is why inversions are contraindicated during menstruation, why you don't put your legs up in the air, because your body is wanting to move the womb lining out. And if you're going upside down, you're pretty much essentially contradicting what nature wants to do. And so much of our lifestyle is also contradicting what nature wants to do, which is why so many women have menstrual problems, which is why so many births are cesarean and not natural birth, which is why so many people experience constipation, which is why, there are so many menstrual problems, because we're holding on, essentially. We're uptight, we're wound up, and all these expressions, and as I say them, my body kind of automatically does that thing that happens when we feel these things. And it's this very like, oh, tense shoulders and tight breath, and it is inhibiting the body's natural I call it the reflex. It's a sound that we make when we relax, when we feel pleasure. We're like, and this is the exhalation. This is the essential part of the breath cycle, that if we don't exhale all the way out, how can we possibly get that nourishment from the breath in? First requires us to complete the exhalation, to empty all the way out. And this is the part of the cycle, and not only the cycle of breath, but the cycle of our menstruation as women. So when we are bleeding, again, this is this letting down reflex, that when we honor it, and I have just finished my bleeding time 2 days ago. I'm on day 4, I think, or 5 of my cycle, because I took that day of bleeding to just be with myself and to let it happen, to not interrupt that flow. That was my body's intelligence. It's so intelligent. I truly, these last 2 days, I am so energized because I have allowed for my body's exhalation, my letting down, to be honored. And we live in a world that is very values this kind of hyperactive, like, and very much in the doing and the action and the out there and the extroverted. And what it doesn't honor so much are the times where we need to exhale, where we need to pull back, where we need to be quiet, where we need to just sit and rest. So a really simple way that you can, if you feel yourself in that wound upness, is take the time to exhale, take the time to just settle, take the time to ground and to feel the ground under you. And truly the remedy is to get down. It's eventually it can become a trained skill of your inner awareness and energy settling in and down to your base. Initially, it can be really helpful just to literally get onto the ground, to sit on the ground, to come into child pose, or just to stand on the ground with your bare feet and to let everything come down from the head, from the scatteredness, and to root. And what happens when we do this, as I said with my menstrual cycle as the example, and any time where we actually don't have a lot of energy, and the problem is that what the world that we live in is kind of encouraging us to do is to go to the coffee shop at 2 p.m. in the afternoon and to get your takeaway coffee to top up from the one you had when you first woke up, to manufacture that energy, which is why there's so much adrenal fatigue, which is why when people come to my yoga class and they take shavasana, deep relaxation, they either start snoring or they tell me afterwards, wow, I'm so tired, I just want to go to sleep now. The sun just came out. And so what happens eventually with practice of this dropping in and down, that's where our energy comes from. It doesn't come from the perking up through sugar and caffeine or just mustering it up out of thin air, which is where we get the crash landing back to earth, which is where we get depleted, which is then we need to take a massive holiday to recover. So what I'm proposing is that instead of crashing back to earth after seeking those highs, is to willingly descend, to actually be like, okay, I'm sensing my energy is a little low. I'm going to stop. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to exhale. Make that sound if you can. It's like the natural sound that we make. And this is it. It's all just natural. It's all the intelligence that our body has that we've just suppressed or we've ignored. And so we're simply returning to these natural rhythms. And then the natural thing that happens when we honor that, we don't have to manufacture our energy. We're connected to source energy from the Mama Earth. And we just naturally have energy. And this, interestingly, this letting down reflex, it's a reflex, it's instinctual. We just have to remember and relearn it. It is also like a detoxification in the same way that when we menstruate, our body is detoxifying any elimination process. When we cry, all of these ways that we purge, that we release, that we let go, and let our bodies express that. Letting go is not a concept, it's an action actually. It's an embodied experience if we allow it and if we give it space and if we honor and celebrate it.